Have you been looking at birth charts kind of like this and just got confused and gave up on trying to figure out what the heck they mean and how to read them? No worries, that's what I'm here for. I promise by the end of this video, you are going to be able to read your own birth chart, other people's birth charts, and learn so much more about yourself. Hola, my beautiful lotus flowers. Thank you so much for coming back. And for those of you who are new, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it tons and tons. If you're into nerding out on everything astrology, spirituality, and fantasy, this is a community for you. So be sure that you're hitting that like button as well as subscribing and hitting the bell notification so you know when I come out with videos every Tuesday and Friday. Now, I've actually had quite a few people ask me on Instagram different questions about astrology, and each time I clarify something for them that they were confused about, they are so excited, which makes me excited. So I was like, why don't I make videos on common astrology questions and help other people learn? To better follow along with this video, if you want to bring up your own birth chart before we start so you can follow along, because at the end I'm actually going to guide you through an actual birth chart visually. So if you want to do that, I will have a couple links to a couple great astrology websites that allow you to calculate your birth chart easily. Remember that you'll need the time you were born, the date you were born, and the location you were born, okay? So if you want, you can pause and go ahead and do that, and let's go ahead and jump into the information. First and foremost, what is a birth chart? So as I covered in a recent video, if you did not catch that video, be sure that you go to it. This is it right here, and the link will be in the description, or you can click this card. So in that video, I talked more about the makeup of the zodiac and what we base it on. So your birth chart takes into account the solar system, and it tracks where all the celestial bodies, all the important celestial bodies were at the time you were born. So if you were to pretend that you were floating above the Milky Way. Pretend you're looking down at the Milky Way, floating above it, and you're ready to take a picture the moment you were born. So the moment you come out of the womb, you snap a shot of the solar system and where everything is in the solar system at the moment you were born. That translates onto your birth chart. So what are the main components of a birth chart? So let's start with the outer rim. The outer rim is going to contain the 12 zodiac signs. You see that the birth chart is broken into 12 different sections, and there is a zodiac symbol belonging to each section. Each zodiac represents personality traits. So basically, personality qualities that you have individually that set you apart from everybody else. The second major component of a birth chart are the 12 houses. So the houses are different than the zodiac signs, and we're about to go over that in just a moment. But the houses basically govern the different areas of your life. Zodiacs govern specific personality traits that you have. The houses on the birth chart represent different areas of your life, such as your wealth, such as your public status, social status, so on, so forth. So the reason the houses are not the same as the zodiac signs, even though there are 12 of them, is because the houses are actually directly correlated with the Earth's axis rotation. So I'm going to insert a video right now that I dug up on the internet, and I was so happy I found it because I was horrified at the thought of trying to explain this to you guys without a visualization. So go ahead and roll the clip.
The main difference between houses and signs is that houses move with the Earth while the zodiac signs do not. As the Earth rotates on its axis, it changes the position of the houses in relation to the zodiac signs underneath. The houses can be thought of as a personalized version of the zodiac, which is superimposed over the actual zodiac. The two systems overlap one another, creating an ever-changing kaleidoscope of endless combinations. Houses bring a personalized dimension to the birth chart, making each chart totally unique. The placement of the houses depends on the time of day an event occurs. If this were a natal chart, for example, we would take a freeze frame of the heavens at the time of birth. In our example, this individual's midheaven is Sagittarius and the ascendant is Pisces. Because a chart can occur at any point in a 24-hour period, a house will often include portions of two zodiac signs. This individual's 11th house, for example, contains a portion of the sign Capricorn and a portion of the sign Aquarius.
So the third major aspect of your zodiac sign is going to be the ruling planets. So each zodiac sign and house are ruled by a different planet. So whereas the zodiac signs govern your personality traits and the houses govern different areas of your life, the planets are going to govern different aspects of your mentality, so the way that you function mentally. An example of this is the planet Mars. So Mars is known to rule over aggression and be representative of aggression. So say somebody's an Aries, the zodiac sign Aries is ruled by Mars. So they're known to have a higher temper. They react out of temperament or aggression more so than maybe some other signs. Now, to help you visualize even better, we are going to look at a birth chart together and I'm going to break it down for you. You are excited and you've already learned something new and you're excited to go through a birth chart with me. Be sure that you like the video, be sure that you subscribe and hit the bell now so you don't forget, so you know when I come out with other astrology videos every Tuesday and Friday. But let's go ahead and hop in.
All right, everybody, so we're about to actually look at a birth chart. If you calculated your own birth chart earlier, go ahead and pull it up so you can follow along. And if you haven't done this and want to, again, I have links in the description to a couple of great websites, okay? But remember, you're going to need your time of birth, where you were born, and the date of birth, of course. So locate where my mouse is to the upper left-hand corner so you know where to follow. So we're going to start from the outermost rim of the chart. And on this outermost rim, you're going to see symbols of each zodiac sign that line the rim. So the chart is broken up into 12 separate parts. Each part has its own zodiac sign in it, okay? If you move further inwards from the zodiac signs, you're going to see numbers. Now, it'll either be regular numbers or Roman numerals, depending on where you got your birth chart. But either way, they represent the same thing. If you follow the numbers around the birth chart, you're going to notice they go from number 1 through 12. And this represents the first house through the 12th house. Now, alongside the zodiacs and the houses, you're going to see little symbols scattered throughout your birth chart. And these represent the different planets throughout your birth chart and where they fall. Now, if you don't know what each symbol belongs to each planet, it's okay. Just Google a chart that shows you the symbols in relation to what planets they represent, and it'll be super easy for you to figure out which one is which on your birth chart. Now, next to each symbol, you're going to see a little number, and this number is actually going to represent the degrees in which that planet or that celestial body fell within that zodiac sign. So for example, this symbol right here, if you see my mouse circling this, that represents the sun. That's the symbol of the sun. So if you look right underneath it, there's a little number that says 17. That means that the sun was about 17 degrees inside of Pisces at the time I was born. Therefore, my sun sign is Pisces. Makes sense? So that means that if you locate the little moon symbol on your birth chart as well, like mine right here, you can see that the moon is 10 degrees inside of Gemini. So look at that. You've successfully located your sun and moon sign on your birth chart. So yay! Baby steps, right? Okay, so next, let's go ahead and talk about the layout of the birth chart overall. So the birth chart is a circle for a reason, right? Because we're focusing on the orbit of the planets, the rotation of the Earth on its axis. So everything is a 360-degree circle. On that circle, you're going to see the label MC and AC. These vary from birth chart to birth chart depending again on where you got yours, but they mean the same thing whether it says ASC or AC. They represent the same thing, okay? So let's start with MC up here on the upper side of the birth chart. This is representative of the midheaven line on your birth chart, which is technically the South Pole for the Earth. Wherever this line falls on your birth chart represents your social roles, public life, and status. So for example, right here you see that my midheaven line with this arrow attached to it falls inside of Aquarius. So I could look up on Google midheaven in Aquarius and find out what that means for my social life and my public status. Now, intersecting the midheaven is the ascendant line over here, which is what AC stands for. So your ascendant line, which is technically the eastern part of the Earth, represents the horizon. This is what determines your rising sign or ascendant sign, since this sign is determined by where the sun was rising when you were born. So as you can see, my ascendant line, again with the arrow, falls right here in this area, and we can see that it falls into Taurus. That's why my rising sign is Taurus. So your moon sign, sun sign, and your rising sign is on your birth chart. Awesome, awesome. I know, right? So fun fact, what's considered a balanced chart is when you have an equal amount of planets on the top of the horizon and the bottom of the horizon. Now, if you notice your planets congregating in a certain part of your birth chart, that actually means something specific for your life. I'm not that advanced, but it's just really cool to note in case you want to dive deeper into that part of your birth chart. So, in addition to that, you're going to see some funny little symbols that don't match up to any of the planets or other celestial bodies. The first one being this one right here, if you see my mouse circling it. This represents the North Node, otherwise called the lunar node. So the North Node basically represents your future, the characteristics and the path of life that you want to follow in order to grow and be successful. Now, opposite of that, 180 degrees across from it is going to be your South Node. Now, not every birth chart shows it. As you can see, mine doesn't. But you literally just trace 180 degrees perfectly opposite of your North Node, and that will be your South Node. So you can see that mine would fall in Aries if they put it on my birth chart. So your South Node represents the past. So that's the opposite of your North Node, which represents the future. This represents characteristics that you need to leave in your past life. It's emotional memories or traumas you experienced in a past life, and it represents what you need to grow out of, okay? So you need to look towards your North Node and away from your South Node. The last weird symbol you might see on your birth chart is this little black moon with a cross on the bottom. Not everybody believes in this. I'm not really sure how I feel about it. It's still mysterious to me. But it's called the Lilith Black Moon. And this represents your deepest, darkest temptations. Maybe you have like a really dark fetish that you don't tell anybody about. You know, kind of your seductive side. Everything that you would consider like your dark side is pretty much what the Lilith Black Moon is supposed to represent.
Yay! Congratulations! You have completed the basic birth chart tutorial. And you can go ahead and now read your own birth chart. If I helped you read your own birth chart, be sure you give this video a big thumbs up. Be sure that you comment below and let me know if you were able to successfully read your birth chart and what you learned about yourself from it. And be sure that you subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out on my future astrology videos every Tuesday and Friday. And if you really do enjoy positivity, enlightenment, law of attraction, crystals, astrology, everything under that realm, be sure you join the Facebook group, the LaBlue Lotus community, and that will also be linked in the description as well. Not watched these videos already, be sure that you watch them because they are very important to further understanding astrology and your personal birth chart overall. And I will see you next time. Adios.